right, Ryan Tubbs, we're here again, back in the studio. You've been here before.
Yes.
But it wasn't like this. It was different than this. Is that correct? I'm trying to remember when you were on. I feel like it would spend, it's over a year ago.
Yeah, I think it was around the time, maybe before the school bond came before the community. Some in that time frame, 2024.
Somewhere through there.
Somewhere around there.
It wasn't necessarily related to election stuff, but you came on the show, and it was definitely not like this because we very recently redid this. So we've kind of given it a facelift. I don't even remember if this was the set when you came here before. Do you remember?
I do not remember, no.
We've slept a little bit since then, and there's a lot going on in the world, so it's hard to remember some of that stuff sometimes. Like, I don't even remember. I've had a lot of people on the show. I think we're up to maybe 50 different guests at this point.
Great.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Some of those are repeats, obviously, and you're here today, though, with a purpose. Today, we're talking about the fact that you're running for mayor. It's reelection time. So talk to me. How's it gone so far?
It's good. I think the community's definitely engaged. Trying to drive the vote is one thing that I think everybody running for office at any level has a challenge with such low voter turnout. But I think you just kind of run your normal race. In turn, I think elections now is a lot about education. In turn, going out repeatedly, you have to answer the same question over and over again. But from that education component, it's explaining, hey, this is Celina's philosophy to how we've got to where we are today, and this is my vision of where I want us to go in the future.
Gotcha. And I bet it is a lot of repetition, and we'll talk about all kinds of things today. I've got a lot of things on my mind I want to ask you about, but let's start off first with, you've been in office for 3 years as the mayor, and I want to kind of backtrack to that first go around. Like, what in the world made you decide, 3+ years ago now, let's say 4 years ago, to run for mayor?
Oh man, looking back on it, it was an interesting time comparative to what I thought it would be like to what it's been like once I've sat in the seat. So I think going back 3 years, a lot of what I thought about was development, developers ensuring that they pay for themselves. Our water rates are extremely high. Why are our water rates so high? I want to get in there and fix it or be able to explain it, what's going on. In turn, conflicts of interest. I felt like the city was very conflicted in the leadership style of how City Hall was run, and I wanted to get in there and make some changes, which now I think we've seen the fruition of some of those changes. And I think we're at a different point in Celina's trajectory right now than we were 3 years ago. And then I'm sure somebody will come in 3 years from now, 6 years from now, 10 years from now, and want to put their own style, their own stamp on Celina. Because really, I don't think this seat belongs to one person, it really belongs to the community.
I understand that, and I appreciate that. And just to be, completely transparent about everything, I did not support you in your original bid for mayor, and I didn't think that you were going to have, the same, and not necessarily the experience, because I know you were around a lot of different things. I'd see you at every meeting. I'd see you at every, you were present all the time. But I just, we had Sean Terry was the mayor, and he had a lot of experience, and he had come through, so many different things with the city. And then here comes a guy who, you hadn't been on city council, and you run for mayor. And so I thought, we're in trouble now. We're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think the favorite dig you ever gave me is you're like, you've served on one board, because I had served on the special events board. I had applied in years past, didn't get an interview. One time got an interview, still didn't get selected. So that's what I think I put out to our community all the time. We can only, as city council, choose about 15 positions a year, but we get over 100 applications.
Right.
So it's highly competitive. It's extremely difficult. And I didn't have previous experience in serving on city council. Naturally, when you serve on city council, you'll get somebody who will serve 1 term, who will serve 3 terms, term out, whatever that may be. And then they naturally ascend. You see their leadership style, their connection to the community, their connection to the business community, great at driving visitors, whatever that may be. And in turn, they kind of take that natural ascension into the mayor spot. Maybe they rise up through the Economic Development Corporation, and they've been highly successful there. But man, I just went straight for it. And
you did. You did.
Luckily, I think I got 54% of the vote, something like that. And all you really need is 50% plus 1. So,
50% plus 1 wins the deal.
I was ecstatic to be entrusted to take on this leadership role. I think about how I represent the community every single day. One thing that I've heard that I've really taken to heart is kind of what is your leadership style when you go and make decisions in this role. And I think part of that is, the best way I've had it described, is if every single resident out there was able to sit in this seat and they knew all of the information that I knew, what decision would they make? And that comes into some of the insider information, understanding how development works, in turn, what it takes to have a capital stack to get a business open, on top of what do the residents want out of it? What's the existing entitlement? All of those different things together, if a resident knew what I knew, what decision would they make? And I think that's really how I approached my day-to-day. Nice.
So going back to that original deal, now here we've come 3 years. And if I'm not anything, I'm open-minded towards, I love being corrected when I'm wrong and things like that. So I'll go on record saying I was wrong about you. I was 100% wrong about you. I'm not endorsing anybody, so don't let that go to your head. I'm not endorsing you here, but I was completely wrong. I think you have been one of the most available and knowledgeable leaders, and I'm going way on back. I started in politics with Jim Wright way back in the day, and I'm talking about like out of high school, working phone banks and stuff like that. And I've been involved in different aspects of the whole political system, going all the way up to when George Bush ran for governor. Working out of his Dallas office down there on Greenville Avenue, just lots and lots and lots of experience. And so I'm very happy to sit here and say, you've done a great job so far.
Thank you.
I have no, that doesn't mean we always agree on everything, but I don't have any major criticisms, and I'm very happy that I was wrong about that. I'm extremely happy about that. So, I just want to say that. I didn't think that you were going to be the best candidate at the time. I didn't think you were the best candidate. And now I'm happy that you've done such a fantastic job. So thank you for that. And, I know that you've got a couple of opponents now, and can you tell me a little bit about who's running against you and what you know about each of them? I know you know Eric Becker. He's been around for some time. And then we have someone who's fairly new, in my opinion. I don't know a whole lot about the third candidate, but tell me what you know about them.
Yeah, so Eric Becker's a local businessman that owns Automation Integration. They provide audio, video, and security services. I believe they've certified electricians. I don't know his business in and out. You see a lot of the green trucks driving around the city, but he's a big volunteer in the city. I think Eric gives a lot back to his church, which is something that I definitely align with. We always talk about when people apply for boards and commissions, they don't get picked. In turn, how can you get involved in the community? I don't think that's necessarily always serving the city, the entity itself. I think there's several different ways. We have great local nonprofits, whether that's a church or that's Helping Hands of Celina or that's Grace Bridge. Eric's always given his, we call it, at our church, we always call it time, talent, and treasure. And I think he definitely has given all three of those. When you look at Oktoberfest being put on, any of the chamber events, Eric's out there. He's volunteering his equipment, he's volunteering his resources, he's volunteering his time to help give back to the community to make Celina better. He's very involved as a donor as well as volunteering inside the schools themselves, whether that's the drill team or it's anybody else. From what I see, I think he's very involved through different philanthropic efforts. And my other opponent is Erica Cornelius, who a lot of us had never met. I don't believe she's shown up to any public meeting. She hasn't come to a city council meeting, an economic development corporation meeting, planning and zoning. But she seems to have a very good heart for the community. I think she wants to serve. She's just putting herself out there, running directly for mayor without being involved in showing kind of these are the fruits of the labor in which I've put forward to show the community that I'm able to take on such a big role. So I think we all are interested to learn more about her. I think engagement with the community is a definite positive. I think that's where a lot of my leadership style comes from, transparency. But at the same point in time, I think you get a lot of different answers in person than you do online. I think I don't want to talk bad about one single opponent, but I think it brings in the bigger political picture of what AI, for instance, is doing to our landscape, when in turn you're able to maybe answer questions that you don't specifically understand. I think it's a good research tool, but when it's really formulating your opinion for you, that becomes dangerous in our political system.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit about, we're going to bounce around to a lot of different things so that we don't get like too dull and bored on one particular
monotone
thing. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to bounce around. I might ask you this, then I might ask you what your favorite color is next. You never know. So when you started a year ago, like you said, you hadn't served on council. You win the mayor's position. From then until now, a while ago, you kind of touched on that it was different maybe than what, your expectations and how it is. So give me some of those, like, fine tune that for me. What do you mean it's different from, like, say, day one expectations to here we are three years later? How different?
Yeah, I guess maybe I didn't realize how big of an impact voting myself and others into office could have. In turn, I thought council would be a whole lot of what I had seen. I think I went to probably 90% of every public meeting, planning and zoning meeting, and city council meeting about 2 years before I decided to run to office. So I don't think anybody was surprised that I was going to run for office, in the sense that I was in the audience for about 2 years ahead of time, attending every public meeting, every town hall, state of the city, going to planning and zoning meetings, city council meetings. I was there. So I don't really think it comes as a surprise to anybody.
Yeah, you were literally always there. I remember even going to like a one of the meetings, and I was looking around and I was like, where's Ryan? Because I knew you had to be there, and I didn't see him. I was very surprised that you weren't there. And as I sat there and I'm watching the meeting and stuff, I felt like somebody was behind me, and I kind of turned around and looked. It was you. You were there.
Yeah, there I was.
Yeah, there you are.
So in turn, I think that's really how I got involved, was being there. So then I get elected, and there's certain changes that I wanted to make. I in turn thought it would be all about development agreements, in the sense of what a development agreement is you have two parties come together, and it basically outlines the future annexation, the future use of the property, whether that's going to be single family homes, multifamily homes, commercial spaces, light industrial, all of our different zoning districts, and it outlines how those properties are going to come along. I got into city council, and I think we had kind of one of those big ones, which was rainwater crossing. It's coming in off of Coit. And then in turn, we turned down some multifamily at the outer loop in Coit, which that was a split vote, but I really see that was as a turning point right after I got elected in the first year, as we're going to vote this down. We're not going to bring on standalone multifamily as a specific product. If we're in turn going to allow multifamily in the city, what do the residents get out of it? We need multifamily. Definitely you do. If you're going to be a big city, we're going to have 78 square miles. Multifamily is needed, but what do the residents get out of it? Yes, you need people that are going to work in retail establishments, whether that's QSRs, quick service restaurants, fast food, that kind of area. But at the same point in time, multifamily can be used as incentive for mixed use areas. If in turn we have a retailer that's not here today, let's say Target wants to come in, you in turn can use multifamily to incentivize Target to come in for the master developer, where now in turn we're using that as leverage to not provide any type of performance-based incentive, because you're getting multifamily along with that. That kind of helps carry the cost of a performance incentive to make that entire power center work from a retail perspective. So I think that's part of it. And then you look at everything else that I wanted to accomplish. I think term limits was big for me. I think it's one of those there's no right or wrong. I just feel like we should have, maybe it's me souring on our state government, or you see what happens at a national level, and you're like, how have these people been in office for so long? I think you get a lot of fresh, new ideas when in turn you allow other people to serve. That doesn't mean that this service isn't recognized. It's definitely appreciated for everybody who's been there for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in office. I think I see the sacrifices that you and your family make, but I think term limits was one of the big ones that I wanted to go after. The residents did pass it, I believe, almost 80% support. But that was just something that I felt like, as I've even sat in this position longer, you see how you can become entrenched with different relationships. And I think that's part of what voters go out and say, hey, what is your moral compass? What are your principles when you approach the position? Because you could take advantage of them personally. And I think what you want to make sure is that you're taking advantage of those relationships on behalf of all residents, all 65,000 residents that are here, all 75,000 in our service area. You're taking advantage of those relationships to help your community and not enrich yourself.
Gotcha. And so that being said, and I told you that I'm going to ask some hard questions. This isn't going to be, some walk in the park. I don't think that, talking about the residents, the people who are out there watching this, and there'll probably be about 3,000 views on this if it follows, the normal course. And so that means that people care. And I think that we're not, helping them at all if we just sit in here and, talk about all the great things. So some hard questions. You just said that whole thing about, your moral compass and all of that stuff kind of comes into question. It has more recently come into question with the campaign finance reports. And so I've heard people say, and I don't necessarily agree with this myself, but I've heard people say that you kind of ran as an anti-developer, and I don't see it that way. I have a little different perspective, but I'll let you answer that. So when you ran, would you say that you were running on a platform of being anti-development? And the reason I ask that is because in your latest campaign finance report, there's an awful lot of developer contributions to your campaign. So how do you respond to that?
Yeah, I think the first time I ran a lot on accountability. In turn, I felt like City Hall was picking winners and losers when it came to development. We were offering residential TERS, which in turn rebates part of your city taxes back to developers. And we were very heavy-handed in offering that to very specific groups. And somebody may buy a piece of land next door and they weren't afforded that same opportunity. Now, I'm completely against residential TERS. I don't think it's needed. They're really used in blighted areas, not prime greenfield commercial area in the Golden Growth Corridor of D&T and Preston Road. But they're really used more in the sense of areas where it may be more difficult to bring utilities to that are beyond a prime growth area, and you want them brought into your city limits. But I think really when I first ran, what I ran on was that accountability and transparency and wanting to see everybody have an even playing field. In turn, this is how we're going to help small businesses. One of our goals as a city council is to be the city of small business. I think we want to help small businesses more than we do a big corporate chain. You have a McDonald's going on the corner, you have a Starbucks going on the corner. I think in such a big city of almost 80 square miles, there's room for all of that. But in turn, we need to help our small businesses more than we do our large businesses. But I think it's just that accountability and transparency and saying, hey, this is, as a city council, this is where we stand. to know that everybody's on the same page in how we're approaching it, and not just, hey, this is on the agenda and we're going to take a vote on it. Well, how hard is it to go back and understand why all of that is happening? So circling back to who's on my campaign finance report, I think you'll see a lot of people that I have connections with that own land on the Dallas North Tollway. That's really the majority of the individuals. So you'll see that they don't have Celina addresses, but they are heavily invested. They may be an LLC. Some of them have land at Frontier and Dallas North Tollway. Others have land on the east corner of the Outer Loop in D&T, and that's where a lot of my support has come from. I think just based off of those established relationships that we need to have to move Celina forward. Celina originally, here's a bedroom community. We have a lot of single family homes. Now in turn, over a 12-month period, we're going to open Lowe's, we're going to open Costco, we're going to open Home Depot, and we're going to open Walmart. And here's this 12-month period. Great, we're going to have a established commercial tax base coming in. But what's next? And I think that's helping establish those relationships with landowners along the Dallas North Tollway to help provide those job centers. How in turn are we going to allow Celina to not have to drive to Frisco, to not have to drive to McKinney, to go out to the airport, whatever that is? How I think our next phase of growth is definitely going to be big job centers, trying to have corporate relocations come into Celina, working with the Glendenning family in Kings Place. That's Rex's big project, working with others along the Tollway. We just approved our first car dealership, which will be our next corporate tenant along the North Tollway outside of Methodist Hospital. So I think me personally, I'm working towards providing high quality jobs. How in turn do we get 6-figure jobs brought into the city, while at the same point in time supporting our small businesses downtown, growing our commercial tax base off of Preston Road? And so that's where a lot of my campaign contributions have come from, are those land investors along Dallas North Tollway, because I think they understand the environment that we've set out, myself as well as the city council, and they feel comfortable in the direction that I'm leading the city.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna kind of bounce around that just a little bit, because, you know, a lot of people who would oppose any candidate, they're always looking for something that they can kind of, you know, sink their teeth into. And I always say, and have very publicly always said, that the campaign finance reports are what I call low-hanging fruit. Those are the easy things, because you can take that and you can look at that report, see where those contributions came from, and then kind of prognosticate on what kind of future that person, you know, may lead us as, like pro-developer or pro-downtown, or, you know, whatever the situation is. I think that if you look in your case, though, what's very unique about it is that we don't have to take the campaign finance reports and guess forward for the next 3 years. You've got a 3-year record right now. So I'm going to ask you right here in front of everybody right now, and obviously your votes and your support have all been, you know, public record and stuff, but have you been the kind of leader, the kind of mayor that, you know, people would say, oh yeah, you're obviously very pro-developer? You've got the record. Do you think that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say when you go talk to the development community, air quotes, I think that they would say we've been very difficult on allowing new multifamily. I think that they would say we've been very difficult on single family developers coming and making requests. In turn, if you're asking for a public finance district, such as a PID, a lot of people don't understand how their PID works. That's a public improvement district. In turn, it helps as far as the developer coming in and financing to put their home lots on the ground. It's basically, if we're going to partner inside of this, what else can we get out of it? In turn, if you offer a PID, that can only be in the boundaries of the PID, which is basically your subdivision. You then in turn can't use it to go build a road somewhere else. You can't use it to build a school site. That's two completely separate entities. So I think my challenge to developers is in turn say, okay, if we're going to give you a PID, can we get enhanced landscaping? Can we get roadways equal to the amount of PID that we're giving on site? Will you build that off site? And I think that's shown in the votes and the actions that City Council has taken of, hey, if we're going to give you a PID, we want this extra mile and a half stretch of roadway. So you're going to have to go acquire the land. You're going to have to build the road because we want the connectivity. We want to ease congestion going forward. We want elevated amenity centers coming in, as well as we have very high design standards. One thing that staff always said is high design, easy process. Well, how do we partner and pencil that high design out? And that's part of those public finance districts. And then you go to the commercial side. I think I've been very open that I'm very pro-commercial. I think it is beneficial to our community. It's beneficial to public safety. It's beneficial to the school district. One thing that my former opponent said, which he is 100% right about, you hear this in every community forum from every mayor, from every elected official, that cities are most successful when you have great schools and quality public safety. And what you need to support both of those is a commercial tax base. When you bring a commercial tax base in, they pay into the system, but they don't send kids to school. We'll use a car dealership, for instance. They're going to hire about 75 people. The average salary is going to be $75,000 to $100,000, but they do not use school district services, but yet they're paying into the system. So they are exactly what we want. At the same point in time, public safety takes up 50% of our budget. So when you bring commercial development in that either provides sales tax or provides a high property tax, that helps offset the burden because commercial users don't use as much public safety resources as multifamily does, as senior assisted living does, as single family does. We need something to help offset all of that. And so I'm very pro commercial growth. I think it's something that we need. We have the Golden Growth Corridor, which is Preston Road, Dallas North Tollway. And then with Collin County starting the next 2 lanes on the outer loop, that's a big corridor that could emulate 121 one day when you see what's happening there. So it could be a mixture of all different areas. So when we plan those corridors out and we're going to attract tenants, I think it is highly incumbent upon all of us to get it right the first time and get such high quality tenants to support the city.
So if I go and look at your campaign finance report and I see these different contributors, and like you said, many of them have land off the Dallas North Tollway, etc., undeveloped at this point, would you feel compelled to give them extra support or help, or to vote in favor of their projects should they come before you? Or would you feel like you owe them something since you've received, these contributions from some of them?
I mean, definitely not. I think I've made that abundantly clear. I mean, part of my leadership, I would say strategy, but just who I am is transparently talking about everything. So in turn, when somebody comes forward and has land under contract, there's no incentive involved. There's been no incentive request. These people don't have contracts with the city today. I think it's just an appreciation in the environment that we're creating. Our EDC adopted a new tagline recently, which is the Texas Year Promised. And really, what does that mean to everybody? And I think a lot of that is we have the land of opportunity to capitalize on our commercial growth and really create something special in how our community wants to see that done. Now, at the same point in time, the biggest asset that cities have is time. We in turn don't need to put something on the ground that isn't beneficial to Celina, that isn't beneficial to our school districts. That's not something that we need today. We don't need to be in a rush, while at the same point in time understanding that, sure, the housing market is slowing. We have a heavy reliance on single-time fees, and so we do have to slowly build up. At the same point in time, we've built up our residential tax base. We have to build up our commercial tax base to get away from the reliance on those single-time fees and take the burden off of our community and the residents that live there and push it on to the businesses to help carry that load going forward.
So I have an observation, and having been involved in being very transparent about the fact that I was obviously a very solid Sean Terry supporter. So that the previous mayor, the one who you ran against, and still have an awful lot of respect for him. I think, under his leadership, a lot of great things happened, but it was very common back then. I remember the arguments out there during political season, which is, you know how they go. We're in one right now. They're never fun.
Everything you read online is true.
Yeah, it must be. It was very, very easy for people to, tag him as extremely pro-developer, namely because he, worked for Centurion American, a big developer, somebody who did actually have contracts, I believe, with Celina, or was building or had built in Celina, and that never bothered me because I felt like, I knew him well enough to know his moral compass to the extent that I didn't see, great, we're allowing all of these things to happen here. We're doing all these contracts and I'm pocketing all this money. But, people who are opponents, they want to frame it up that way. And so now I see it kind of flipped around. You go out there and surely you knew, and you're accepting these contributions, that, you have a long list of, developers or landowners or whatever it is that, somebody's going to come up and say, oh, well, you must be in the pocket of the developers. And I know you well enough now that I believe your moral compass and the leadership I've seen from you, it just simply does not lend itself to that at all. It didn't for Sean Terry for me. It does not for you for me. So I don't have some big concern for that. I think that we need someone on council who has, maybe legal experience. We need someone who has small business experience. We need someone who has good relationships with the developers, etc. And I've offered this thought, and see what you think about this. I think sometimes those folks, and what kind of money are we talking about anyways? Like what's a contribution?
Yeah, that was going to bring, I have anything contributions, $50 up to $5,000. So far, I've accepted, I think $24,000 was my last finance report. I don't really think I need to accept any more money.
You've got enough to run.
I've spent about $10,000 or so. So that's what I've spent on campaign signs. This shirt that you were giving me a hard time, I did buy it. My wife does graphic design, so she gave me this fancy logo on my shirt that matches the roadway signs that you'll see. You called it my mechanic shirt. It's a fishing shirt, but those are the kind of things that you can use. Mainly political expenditures are meant for advertising.
Right.
That's what they're all for. But I think at most point, why do people make political expenditures? I think either they appreciate your accessibility, maybe you're friends with them, but from a business investment standpoint, you want a predictable environment. If you in turn make a change to somebody else, that may reset. In turn, we have a lot of people carrying land loans in the community. And I mean, their interest, which a lot of people don't understand, it's like $1,000 a day. They in turn paid $15, $20 a foot for their property. We no longer measure property. This being in real estate. I'm sure you probably talked about this on your real estate show. We're not measuring property by the acre. This is not $50,000 an acre. This is $3.50 a foot. This is $12 a foot. And there's 43,560 feet in an acre for all of you out there if you would like to know. So as the city grows, the scale grows. And in turn, that's where, yes, I've taken it in. I spent about $10,000 in political advertising, from shirts to door hangers to campaign roadway signs, T-posts, gloves, the T-post drivers, whatever that may be. I think I bought a meal for a volunteer that I had out there helping me put stuff up, and all that. I disclose it all. I try and be as transparent as possible.
So I want to ask you about that. There was an entry on there, and I'm just working from memory here. Okay, I don't sit there and scour those campaign finance reports looking for trouble. Okay, I look at them for interest. Well, it's interesting to me as a political person to see all of that. And I noticed that on yours, I believe it was on yours, that there was an entry. It was for around $3 or $4, and I think it was for
McDonald's.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was like, wow, this is raw transparency right here. This is like accounting to the detail.
I think if you're going to beat me over the head, you could do that. Like, hey, why can't you spend $4 of your own money versus somebody else? And I think it's just, hey, every political expenditure, I went out, I had a volunteer with me. We went and put up signs. I think we stopped at McDonald's and all we got was the largest cups that they had because we just wanted that blue Powerade.
That's so funny.
And I keep it all separated. So I have a binder. It has all of my receipts in it in case I get audited to say, hey, here, this is what I spent it on. And that goes back to the transparency aspect of, hey, this is their person, this is their title. And I mean, I think it's difficult when in turn you say, hey, I could take money from somebody and you can put real estate next to their title. Well, in turn, are they a developer? In turn, are they a land investor? Do they sell commercial real estate? Do they in turn sell residential homes? Are they maybe a home lender, but they're involved in financing real estate deals? So putting a generic occupation, I think there's definitely more to each one of those individuals. But I mean, I'm happy to put that out there because I just try and be as transparent as possible of where that's coming from and then explain this is why in turn they're supporting me. And I think that's because I have a firm belief in what our tollway can be. This is the area that we have for the highest and best use. This is the area that we have that's going to drive a lot of traffic, that's going to create a whole bunch more car trips. In turn, maybe multifamily by right now in state law can come in specific commercial zones. But you know what? Maybe multifamily belongs next to the tollway because if they're getting on the tollway, that's not a road that the city has to maintain. If you're off of a TxDOT road, TxDOT is in turn maintaining it or NTTA is maintaining it. But we don't need to put multifamily right butted up next to single family houses if we can avoid it. So I think that's where it goes into the philosophy and hopefully a predictable, stable environment. And I just feel like that's why I've gotten the contributions that I have. I've only spent $10,000. I don't plan on sending a whole bunch of mailers out. I don't plan on doing text message threads. You're not gonna to Celina. I think it's a very useful tool, but at the same point in time, I feel like I've almost been running for office for 4 years because anything that I think is valuable to the community, I try and put it out on rather one of our forums, or in turn, I put it out on my own social media to just, this is an item of interest that you need to be aware of. Either this is what I'm passionate about, or I feel like this is what the community's passionate about, and I don't plan on changing that style of leadership.
I want to speak on behalf of all of the voters out there and the non-voters who don't like getting tons of junk mail and say thank you for not stuffing our mailbox full of the same political postcard 4, 5, 6 times in a row.
I have one of those, I think they're called cluster mailboxes, like your HOA developer, whatever, puts them in the very beginning. I go and open mine up and it's like stuffed to the brim, because I check my mail like every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I rarely check it. Sometimes my daughters help me out and they'll go out there and check it for me. They're like, Daddy, can we get the key and go check the mail? And I'm like, please, but it's probably going to take both of you because you're not going to be able to close the little tiny mail slot back and come back because it's just, our mail system is so messed up for the amount of junk mail that it is. I think it's a dying breed. I think it's the same with email spam, that kind of area. It does in turn probably serve a purpose. It just hasn't been part of my strategy in trying to get elected.
Sure, I understand. And we're going to bounce around a little bit. Like I said, I've got more not so easy questions for you coming up. But I am interested in that. You just talked about your daughters. I want to know a little bit about your family. You're married. I know you're married.
Yes.
I know you've got kids. Talk to us. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So my wife, Carmen, and I, we've been married since 2013.
You better get this one right.
Yeah. I'm already doing like the eye winking trying to go back. So June 1st, 2013, we got married. So we're 13 years. We were, I guess we'll call it high school sweethearts. We met in a church environment. One of my friends from church was in turn her friend. She went to a different high school. We got set up, started dating, dated all through college. And then once my wife graduated college, we got married. We moved to Allen, started our family there. My daughter was about 3 years old, and the other one was on the way when we then decided to move to Celina. My wife was 9 months pregnant when she packed the house, by the way.
Wow.
All the guys out there, I don't recommend that. But she was awesome. And in turn, we decided to move to Celina, came here in 2017. And now our daughters, they're 10, 8 years old. They go to public school here in Prosper ISD, and there's a school right next to our neighborhood between Creeks of Legacy and Mosaic, for those of you that are here local to Celina. And I try and spend as much time. I think family means a lot to us. I think that's one thing that we try and give grace to each other. A lot of times you give so much back to the community. In turn, if somebody has to miss a city council meeting for a band event or for a cheerleading event, or we have business owners that serve on city council, maybe in turn you have an employee that needs something. I think we all try and be accommodating. We're real people at the end of the day. The reason that you elect another representative from your community is because they're going through those same struggles. I drive through the same traffic zones. I experience the same water restrictions that we have. And in turn, a lot of my time is spent. I have a daughter that's in team gymnastics. And in turn, we don't have that offering in Celina today. So we drive down to Frisco. But in going 3 hours, 4 days a week, or whatever it may be, 12 hours a week, my time spent with her is in the car. So
Right.
That's our time together. So I very much, a lot of people ask for meetings or they'll ask to come to events. And a lot of times the most difficult part of being an elected official, you want to try and appease everybody while understanding you can't, is I have to say no because that's my time. I appreciate it so much. I just want to drive my daughter to gymnastics is all that I want to do. And my other one is in art class or she's doing swimming. And I just want to be there because we don't get those times back. I think I'm definitely unique in serving in such a public role at a young age. And those are the challenges that I face while at the same point in time having that relationship with my spouse, ensuring one thing I think that I got from my brother-in-law. He always talks about date your spouse, date your spouse, date your spouse. And I think you have to nurture those relationships. As much as I'm giving back to the community, I have to give back to my family. So ensuring, hey, look, let's have a meal together. Let's in turn, we're all going to church on Sundays. And I think family is such a big part of my life, and I know we're such a young community. I can relate so well to those raising a family and all the struggles that come with that, from attending sporting events, attending school events, trying to get time to yourselves. We're all going through that struggle together.
Right. So talk to me just a little bit, and I'm going to bounce over to something completely different. Downtown Celina. Talk to me about downtown Celina. We've talked about, the Home Depots and the Lowe's and the Costco's and how we need those, tax advantages that they bring to this city, right? But in my opinion, this is just my opinion, downtown offers something of high value as well. And I'm curious what your take on downtown is.
Yeah, I think downtown, which this is where every candidate, I'm sure anybody who's sat in this chair is aligned. We're downtown. You can call it the heartbeat. You can call it the crown jewel. I've referred to it as all roads lead downtown. I think it really provides an identity to Celina. Yes, we're growing. Yes, when you go look up the definition of what is a small town, that may be under 5,000 residents. That may be somewhere between 10 and 30,000 residents. There's some different things. We're at 65,000 residents. We've entitled enough multifamily and single family homes to get us to over 200,000 residents. We could not approve another agreement and we would still reach 200,000 residents. That's even hard to come out of my mouth. But you also have to understand where we've been to guide the community to where we want to go. Because you can't change the past, but you can try and help guide it, manage it, do the best that we can for the future generations, for my kids, if they in turn want to come back and live in Celina once they graduate and come back. That's something that we're building for the next generation. And I think downtown Celina really grounds everybody to its core. I think that's why we potentially could have 5 people that all live or own a business in downtown Celina, because people just love it so much. And then I in turn talk to residents who've never even visited downtown Celina. They in turn just, hey, we moved off of Preston Road. It was more affordable. We came here because I wanted to put my kids in athletics. We love the school system. And they just take Preston Road down and they take it back and they're driving to Frisco or they're driving to Plano. But I think our vision for downtown is to make it a destination where families can come for entertainment, where we hold on to those special events. The city either puts on or partners with over 30 events a year. We have some signature events from Cajun Fest with Eli Young Band this year. We're taking over Oktoberfest from the Chamber of Commerce. We have Beware the Square. We have Christmas on the Square, creating those signature events where everybody gets to enjoy downtown. It gives you that small town feel. And then also we want everybody to come back. Part of the reason we put these events on is so, yes, you may not be able to get in that boutique. You may not be able to eat at that restaurant on the day of the event, but we want downtown Celina to be vibrant, and the joy that it gives all of us, we want it to give everybody else. While also understanding that there was a vision put into downtown a long time ago. When Brookshire's first came in, Corbett Howard, for those of you Mr. Celina, told me this story. They had actually worked out a deal when Brookshire's came in that City Hall was going to move to about 7 acres behind Brookshire's. I'm not sure if you've heard this story.
I don't know this story.
Yeah, and I found it very fascinating. I'm like, Corbett, you got to tell me this story. I saw it when he did a podcast with the city. So I was like, where was this going to be at? So they had a deal worked out where they were going to move City Hall. Well, little did Corbett know, this goes into, there's 7 of us. We have 7 different opinions. City Hall was not going to move out of downtown Celina. So a long time ago, you're going back 20 years where in turn it was said, we're going to buy this bank building that's on the square, and that's going to be our future City Hall. So the city never in turn purchased that land behind Brookshire's. It's a lot of where the donkeys are today. That you see directly north. I think about those monumental decisions to say we want the core services of our city. We want all of our employees down here, which in turn go and patron the establishments in downtown and help grow downtown. We really want this to be the heartbeat of our city where everybody comes in and out. And I think about those alternate paths of what would have happened if at that point in time, 20 years ago, we would have pulled out of downtown, pulled our city out of downtown. You now see a almost 400 space parking garage in downtown. You see a downtown center that's 110,000 square feet that's going to 10x the size of our library. It's going to host our administration. It's going to host new spaces for permitting and development services, and everything that takes to require to run a city is going to be hosted in that building. And to be able to provide those employees with an identity as well, to say this is how much passion we have. And so what I think we're working on is fixing a lot of that infrastructure. For a long time I heard we're going to have a 10-year road plan. We're going to do a year of road for 10 years, and that's going to fix a lot of the drainage problems and everything else. Well, for those who live down here, there's more than 10 roads. We have about 30 roads that need to be fixed.
Right.
So we're going to fix 2 to 4 roads downtown. We've now put that plan to paper. It's going to take somewhere between 10 to 15 years. Likely it's 12 to 15 years to, okay, we're going to add sidewalks downtown. We're going to fix drainage downtown. Now, to get to engineering and nerdy, there's 3 pressure planes downtown. So that means that water travels the flow of least resistance, so we can only work on a certain amount of roads in one area because we need to connect that drainage. So as you see the improvements on Arizona, as you see it on Colorado, well, then we can do a road or 2 there. But then we go north and we Dun Beach. We can then go in that area north, or we in turn could go west and in turn do other roads. So really there's 3 different sections. We can go around Oklahoma that then we're going to build this underground drainage system. We're going to turn these roadways that were gravel that were then turned to asphalt in the 70s and just haven't been maintained to a specific standard level. And then we're going to add sidewalks. It's a very delicate balance of trying to preserve trees downtown while also at the same time improving utilities, improving water, sewer, our roadways, our sidewalks. So I think we all now have put this grand vision and directed city staff. This is what we want. But then also at the same point in time, we don't have the budget to just do this all. We can't do it in 5 years. We can't do it in 7 years. This downtown roadway infrastructure plan is almost $450 million. This is something that's going to take over a decade to accomplish because we're investing I don't want to call it extra dollars. We're really just prioritizing the tax dollars, the sales tax dollars, the property tax dollars that are coming in turn bring downtown up to a new standard that the rest of the community operates. And so I think I'm very excited about that. While also at the same point in time, downtown's 100% leased out, working with property owners such as yourself. Right now we sit in the Blue House directly across from the parking garage. So in turn, what can this be? Is it going to be a boutique? Is it in turn going to be a restaurant? We're going to have a yard next door. I think you have some amazing concepts. But then there's another property owner next door that took down and a building that was there previously, and they have their own vision for what that's going to happen. So I think now we're in the next phase of, hey, we have two main buildings that need to be rehabilitated. We have the gas station on the corner. We have the Mayor's Food Building. What can we do to work with them to get those buildings renovated, activated, remodeled, whatever it's going to look like. And then moving forward, there may be some other areas of interest. There's some vacant land. In turn, you go north of where the Mayor's Food Building is. Hey, Sugar, working with that property owner to say, hey, what can we build here? How in turn do we provide more offerings? Downtown is such a thriving area to bring people, to make it walkable, and go, you know what, I want to grab something to eat, but also at the same point in time, I want to go in Apricot Lane, or I want to step into Terramania, or I want to go into Willow House, or Andy Jack, whoever it is. Sorry, I can't name all of you. We have a lot of businesses down here. But I want to go step in because I want to go pay. Gosh, Tracy has such an amazing personality. I want to step into Terramania and just go see Tracy and Andrew. And I think that's where we see our downtown, and we talk about our identity being rooted in it, is we love the personalities and the businesses that anchor our downtown, because those are our neighbors. Those are the ones investing in our schools. Those are the ones supporting Celina Education Foundation. They're the ones that come in and help whenever we need anything to solve problems. And just being able to expand that offering is what we're working on today. We need more buildings because we need more retail space. We're not done with downtown Celina. It is going to expand into other areas. We don't want just a where a home lot used to be and you don't see anything now. We want that to be a vibrant, walkable space where in turn we're allowed entrepreneurs to come in and flourish in the environment that's been worked on. I think I'm just a steward in this seat. I'm going to try and do the best that I can to help these. But you talk about a downtown master plan that was adopted in 2019. We talk about City Hall and city services wanting to stay downtown. That was 20 years ago that decision was made in the early 2000s. So these are long-range plans, and I think if everybody holds true that comes and sits in these seats, while we get to hold it, and those ones that come after us and say, you know what, we have something special. We have a downtown square that is amazing. We're not a county seat. For those of you that know, county seats are normally, if you go to Sherman, if you go to McKinney, those are the ones that get the square. But we had a private businessman, J. Fred Smith, 100 years ago, came in and he built the downtown square, moved a lot of those buildings off of Main Street and brought them north. And that's what makes Celina unique from our neighbors. That's what separates us from Prosper. That's what separates us from Frisco. So how in turn do we embrace that and make the most of it that we can?
Very good. And as you were saying, you've got this great vision for downtown, and it's one of the unifying things, I think, among, like you said, anyone who's sat in this chair, I don't think anyone's going to come in here and sit down and say, oh no, I don't like downtown. Don't think we should do anything with it. Not my thing. I don't think
they will get much support from any individual, any side, anybody that's out there, whatever you want to call it. If you come out here and say, I am opposed to downtown. I'm opposed to investing in drainage issues downtown. You know what? It's really great when water sits under your house. I don't think you're getting support, but you're not getting support from me, and I'll probably just leave it at that.
And so the downtown has been one of those, I guess, touch points it's commonality for everybody that's on council. But, kind of bouncing back a little bit to maybe one of the not so great things about, our city government, what's going on down here, is the fact that I'm going to say for about the last 4 to maybe 5 years, we have had in our local government, meaning city council and the mayor's position, both prior to you, maybe a little bit, and during your time here, just 4 or 5 years. Okay, you've been in for 3, so let's say 4 or 5 years. Maybe even a little longer, 2 very distinct groups in this town that tend to go back and forth. And while, it's easy to sit here and say, well, we almost, unanimously vote on most things. And while I'm very grateful for things like the downtown that unifies us, maybe the disheartening part for me is the behind the scenes. It's the social media. It's the back and forth that takes place outside of council chambers between these 2 groups. And so I'd kind of like for you to speak to that just a little bit. First of all, would you acknowledge that there has been kind of this 2-group mentality in Celina for a little while?
Yeah, I think, you almost always have individuals, groups, people standing on their own. And you know what? Somebody may kind of identify with both groups for that matter. But yeah, I would say there's definitely, I don't know if you want to call it sides. I think you really try, and our job as elected officials is to break those barriers. Sometimes those barriers aren't broken, and I understand it from an advocacy standpoint. And I can touch on that a little bit. I'll get into it. I think a lot of times in politics, you always, the Chamber of Commerce, they want to understand the people who are most active. You have your Walmarts, you have your Lowe's, you have your big box retailers. I think I'll go on a side real quick, and you talk about like Lowe's came in and they bought over $10,000 worth of gift cards from our local businesses to turn around and give away. Those are the kind of things, the partnerships that we look to, in turn having a general manager that's involved in the community, and that's what we love. But I understand the aspect of, if I was a small business owner, I genuinely worry about, if I own a small business, how much love am I getting if I have my business on Preston Road comparative to having my business downtown? Like, we all love downtown, but what are we doing for those businesses that don't have their business on the square, and in turn are out on Preston Road, or maybe in turn they're out on Choate or somewhere else? And I think that's where a lot of the perceived sides come in, is you feel like the chamber supporting one opponent, and in turn you have you'll call it your third party opponent almost on this other side. I think where I kind of cut my teeth in the political aspect was getting involved in homeowners associations, being able to show up to their special events, working with those who came before me, and Carter Ranch per se, working with their HOA board of, hey, what did you face with, we have these brick walls that are failing. We have erosion inside of our neighborhood. And I think a lot of our identity is based on the group in which you hang out with most. So in turn, if your connection to the community is, I attend Coffee and Connections that the chamber puts on, or I in turn these where I think they used to have beer with the chairman. Well, then in turn, these are the 30 people, the 50 people in which you most interact with. That's your support group. Well, me, as if I'm standing on the outside, in turn, I identify with maybe we felt like it's too heavy. We in turn didn't do a good enough job on the transparency side of, why are we giving these incentives to different businesses? And I'm on this resident side of the other side. I think that's really the barriers that I try and break down. I think I try and show up to as many chamber events as possible. I try and show up to every single ribbon cuttings. I think that's something that I identify with. We have small business owners that come into the city and they have second mortgages on their houses. They in turn are putting their life savings into starting a business. And I think they require having their hand held more delicate care from our Economic Development Corporation and from the city than somebody else like a McDonald's. A McDonald's can go in a corner and they can build that thing in 4 months. They're done. They have a rinse and repeat architecture, and they already know how to get their civil permits approved, and they're there. But you know what? If we're going to be rooted in small business, then in turn, we need to support our small business owners and help them along the ways. They don't have an unlimited budget. They're in turn having to have somebody help guide them through the process. It's not just a store in a box and they're done. They're putting their all of their time, their effort. They're going to run that operation themselves. So I think that's a lot of where the what you call about two sides. I try and not play into that. I try and have a professional relationship with every single individual on council when I in turn go and meet with an applicant that wants to come into the city, and how is this well received? I try and say, you know what, this individual, and this individual may interpret this way. This is here, reach out to them directly because I think that's going to be your roadblocks. This individual, this and this. And it's not very much me being a roadblock. You know, this is having a heavy hand. This is what I want. I don't want you here, X, Y, and Z. Now, in turn, it may say, you know what, I think council's unified and that your type project isn't something that we're interested in because that's how everybody feels. But I think when you look at the two sides, I just try and not play into it. I try and say, you know what is best for Celina? And that's what we should be basing our opinions off of.
So I think that, maybe I've often thought that the way we eliminate this stupid two-group mentality that we have here right now is by having people who are much more, not in either camp, so to speak. Like we elect people who are going to put Celina first and groups and alliances second. And I think Brandon Grumbles would be my first thought of someone who's like that. That doesn't mean that he doesn't lean more towards this or more towards that, but I think Brandon is a person who does not mind stepping out there, and if he alienates this whole group or this whole group, he's not going to be terribly upset about it. He's not worried that he's not going to get invited to the next little social party at someone's house, or that this group's all of a sudden going to, start canceling his pest control contracts and doing things like that. And you smile because that's happened. So to my point, I think that, if we've got these two groups, I don't think it's healthy. I think that it's natural to align with people. I think someone else who's been on the show, and I don't remember exactly who, but they were saying that, socially, I gravitate more towards these people. We hang out together socially. We go to karaoke. We do this, we do that, whatever. I don't think that that's unhealthy, and I don't think that that's something that we shouldn't expect to happen. But I do think that when it comes down to policies, votes, things like that, I think that all of that stuff has to be left outside. And I think that you have to come in and do what's best for the citizens who elected you to go there and be their representatives. And what I've seen is that that's not necessarily the case. I've literally personally seen where, this group isn't going to support this particular thing or whatever because they owe this group some sort of, payback for whatever else happened. And it can get really ugly out there on the social media stuff as well. And sometimes it's not just the city council people or whatever. Sometimes it's their spouses. Sometimes it's, other people like that, their proxies. And we have this thing going on. I don't believe that any of Celina is served well as long as that's going on. And I think that, to an extent, it's probably always going to happen. But I think we need to take steps or be very cognizant individually of not participating in that. And so what I'd like to do, what I've been asking a lot of people for, is for a commitment right here, right now, that, and you've already done it, so I don't think you have a problem agreeing to this, but to not perpetuate and participate in that really toxic two-group stuff. I'd like to hear that, I'm going to commit myself publicly in front of 3,000 plus people to not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I participate in that. In turn, I think you align yourselves with those in which, whether it's morally or principles, that you agree with. And sometimes it's really difficult. I think in some of these races, even this year, you may have two great candidates on the same ticket, but you only get to vote for one. Like, you may like both. This isn't in turn, it's not a partisan race. We in turn don't go saying, okay, I'm going to vote Republican all the way down. I'm going to vote Democrat all the way down. Here's my third party independent candidate. We can have two great races. And in turn, I mean, I've seen my support come in. I go and put a campaign sign out, and you know what? I'm next to one candidate, and I go very next door, and I'm next to the other candidate. So you have two people that are supporting me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're in another race supporting somebody else. So I think we just try and do the best we can. And some people will always support you. Some people won't. In turn, I think we always talk about the 80-20 rule, and I'd like to make this analogy where, in turn, if you take that 20%, I think 10% of people are always going to agree with you. You know what? That's probably great for your self-confidence. You're probably going to have 10% of people that are always going to disagree. Well, it doesn't matter. You're not ever going to appease them. I think you need to take that feedback and see, is there any validity to what they're saying, but really go after that 80% in the middle. And so instead of trying to go and say, you know what, I'm just going to do what the 10% of people that support me, or that I'm going to try and work to fix the 10% that don't support me, really, you just need to go after that 80% in the middle. And I think we would all be a lot better for it.
And it's very well said. Very, very well said. You come off of that really, I agree with that. I think that's very well said. And I'm going to follow that with, why did you support Shay Scott, who is another candidate in the running for city council, in looking at those same campaign finance reports? Why did you support him? You appear to be his only support. I don't remember seeing any other contributions to Shay Scott. He's a former police officer here. He's running in the race right now against Katie, who has the Nowhere Bar across the street here. And I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from your actual campaign contributions, made a contribution to his campaign. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I've donated $3,500 to Shay Scott. I didn't know that that would be the only donation. In turn, he can go spend more money than that. He could either put his own money up. He in turn could go raise more funds, but I have donated that to him. I think that goes back to when I talk about my own campaign finance report. It's transparency. I'm not trying to hide anything. You can basically hide loans to yourself, and then in turn, after the last filing day, go in and kind of true up all of those things. I really don't believe that. I think that the transparent and accountable style that I have, I just wouldn't feel right doing something like that, to in turn go and hide where, whether if that's monetary support or that's support in meet and greets, or it's support in just knowledge and sharing that wealth. My relationship goes back to October of 2020 with the Scotts, when in turn, I think that might have been the very first time I spoke before it, but I had never met Shay Scott until after the October 2020 meeting, when the city terminated his employment as the assistant chief of police. And through a legal battle with the city of Celina and the court system, Shay Scott prevailed. I just can't imagine what that was like for their family. And I don't feel like he's owned anything. I want to make that clear. In turn, everybody who was a major key player as part of that case, from the HR director to the former city manager to the former interim chief of police, the former city attorney, everybody who is involved in that case no longer has anything really to do with the city. They're not employed with the city. So I don't want that to seem like a vendetta against the city. I look at it like, I can't imagine if this scenario happened today. We always talk about you or your service as an officer. If I stand in front of our police department, if I stand in front of our fire department, and I in turn say, I support Celina PD, I support the Celina Fire Department, what does that really mean? Does that mean, hey, I just want you to support me? Or how far does that go? When I felt like there was an injustice done, and that there was a lack of integrity, a lack of professionalism in City Hall, those are the things that I wanted to change. So in turn, one of those was a change that I made myself in about 2 weeks in. We made the decision to have a separation agreement with our former city manager this is me in 2023. So we had a separation. We had an interim city manager for a few months, and then in turn we brought a new city manager on. And okay, now we've had positions and city council changeover. This is the new direction that we need to set for the quality of services that our residents deserve, as well as new expectations for those wanting to do business inside of Celina. So I got to know the Scotts through that whole 5-year ordeal. I can't imagine having a wrongful termination suit, whether that's through a private employer or a public entity like a city, and having to wait 5 years to get your day in court. And justice was served through a jury award. Us as taxpayers, as homeowners, had to pay that out. But in turn, I saw the integrity that Shay stood for, and being able to, these are my morals, this is what I stand for, and I want accountability. And I think that's just something that I gravitated towards. I never really knew for that entire 5-year period that Shay even had an interest in running for public office. He's now changed careers more over to the IT sector. And so he then approached me, I'd say a week before the filing date, and talked about his interest. This isn't something that came up a whole bunch of months ahead of time. During his trial, had a conversation with his sister, and that was the first time I'd ever actually heard that Shay had any interest, but he just wanted to get that past him. As you can imagine, if your livelihood is at threat, if in turn you're worried about your pension and your retirement, you've worked 20 years for something, and then all of that could be taken away just based off of, I would say, probably communication and personality disagreements is normally what most of those things come back to in that situation. And to have all that taken away, and then in turn, Shay saying, you know what, the same leadership and accountability that I brought to the police department, I want to serve the community. I just felt like that was something that I could get behind. We may not disagree on absolutely everything. Most of us don't. In turn, I think we all agree we love downtown Celina, but we may not agree on different priorities. But having somebody who loves public safety so much, who has the experience and has been there of, you know what, public safety is 50% of our budget. We like talking about the fun things. In turn, we have an economic development corporation that takes in a little over $3 million a year. Our budget this past year was $360 million. So it's almost 1% of our entire budget. And everybody wants to argue over what the Economic Development Corporation's doing, because that's kind of the frontward they see. But how in turn do we worry about the quality services that our residents deserve? When we look at water and sewer, and I mean, everybody needs their toilets to flush, but then we look at public safety and quality of life as it relates to parks and connectivity, and how our neighborhoods interact with each other as new neighborhoods are being built next to existing neighborhoods, and that kind of thing. That's really where a lot of that other 99% is going into infrastructure, because that's really the core responsibility of city government. And I just felt like it was somebody that I could support. Another person that I've been supportive of is Shane Lambert. Shane Lambert served on our Economic Development Corporation for 2 years. And in turn, I didn't know his opponent. Brent Beatty is a West Point graduate. I have such an affinity for anybody who's served their country. My dad served in the Air Force, and I saw the type of man I think that it shaped him, and likely shaped the home that I grew up in, and that service attitude. But Shane was just somebody that I think when you talk about morals as well as principles, I felt in line with who he stood for. And just not knowing the opponent. I had gone to Annie Jack, and Rachel has been has had such love for the community and serving on the Downtown Commission, in getting Friday night market started, as well as volunteering at the Heritage Museum. I'd had a relationship with her, but I just never met Brent before. And so that's where it has, you talk about it a little bit earlier, where maybe sides per se, two sides. And I think it was just very much relational in the sense of, I had reached out and said, hey, do you want to meet? I offer that to every single person. If you want to meet, I'm always available. In turn, it's to the community, to candidates running, and some of them responded to me. I'm sure some will respond to you and say, hey, do you want to come to a town hall? Do you want to serve on a podcast? So in turn, I just want to make sure that you're invested in the community. I want to make sure that my vision aligns with your vision, which, okay, this needs to be a community resident first focused vision. And those are just the kind of two candidates that I've gravitated towards to support, while understanding that there's two other great opponents. They, in turn, have done a whole lot when you look at from disaster relief to volunteering for the Education Foundation to being on the local business support program. I'm talking about Katie Dunn. And in turn, okay, you know what? Let's help hold Encore accountable as something that she's taken on now. We've been trying to work with Encore forever. This is something that I know city administration was doing prior to even me stepping in office. My first meeting with Encore was around the fall of 2023, trying to get them to do these upgrades. So I think that pressure from everybody, I think everybody's aligned in the fact of we need Encore to step up everything that they're doing and provide quality, resilient service to all of their customers. But in turn, I'm happy that we have such great charactered individuals that are running for office. But in the end, you can only pick one. And I think that's what it goes back to. You know what? I have two opponents against me. I don't need to talk bad about my opponents to insert and say, you know what? I believe I am the best person for this job. It sounds a little bit arrogant. It's a little uncomfortable to get into that position, but to in turn say, you know what? I would really love for me, Ryan Tubbs, the current mayor, to give me a second chance, give me another 3 years. Do you like what I've done in the past 3 years? And I think that really goes back to when you talk about support, just giving everybody a voice, understanding the leadership styles of each individuals, and then that's in turn how I support somebody else.
So I have something here.
I don't even know what that is.
I have something here, and I'm gonna have to get some glasses on to see these because the print is very, very small. And no, you don't know what this is. I've not told you, but I wanted to do something kind of fun. Let's see. Get these glasses on so I can see these.
No, I'm a little scared.
You should be a little scared.
It's gonna be like Cards Against Humanity. Am I gonna get canceled by reading some of these answers out loud?
Nope, but we're going to do a lightning round. I'm going to give you a topic or a term. Okay. We can't just have a boring show and talk all about, politics and the city and stuff like that. We have to
if you want to talk about lift stations and gravity flow and all the interesting things about engineering and curb cuts and the color of fire hydrants, we can go on and on if you like.
I want you to, as rapid fire as you can, name 3 of any topic that I give you, 3 things that come to mind or that relate to or that are part of whatever. So if I said things that are made of wood,
okay,
3 bam, bam, bam things that you made of wood, we're just gonna see what kind of answers we can get.
See
here,
how much I can stall here. Okay.
All right, you got lucky because I almost forgot that I had these in my pocket.
Oh, okay.
I almost forgot, but we've already had one of the candidates come in, and we had a pretty good discussion about barbecuing. Okay. Grilling, barbecuing, and I learned a lot. And then another candidate came in and brought a Star Wars and a Matchbox Hot Wheels collection. We went through that. That was pretty awesome.
All right.
So feel lucky. Okay. I'm not testing your barbecue skills or asking you to bring in a toy collection. I'm just going to give you rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Topics. Okay. All right. 3 states.
Texas, Oklahoma, Florida.
3 ethnic foods.
American, Mexican, Italian.
3 parts of the body.
Heads, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Head, shoulders,
4.
knees, and toes. And I know why you know that song as well. All right. Things that you shout.
Uh-huh.
Come on, Mayor. Things that you
Hey,
shout.
get over here. I don't know. I don't know. I draw a blank on that one.
Oh my gosh. 3 different kinds of flowers.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is tough. I couldn't do this one.
Roses, daisies, and petunias.
Wow, I'm impressed. Yeah, I would have failed on that one big time. 3 different types of cars.
A sports car.
No. I think it means like brands or something.
Oh, brands?
Yeah.
I'll go with Chevy since I have a General Motors.
Okay, that works.
Toyota because they have reputation for most reliable. And Mercedes because it seems very classy.
Very, very good. I like that. 3 leisure activities.
Walking, running, biking.
Walking, running, biking. You couldn't pick like metal detecting, scuba diving. You couldn't. It's got to be.
Rhythmic gymnastics, cupcake making. What do you want me to do here?
Pizza toppings.
Cheese, pepperoni, Canadian bacon.
This is actually more fun than I thought. This is actually awesome.
This is like rapid fire.
Here's a tough one. I would fail on this one. 3 different types of dancing.
Salsa.
Wow.
I'm going to butcher this. Is it merengue?
Okay, I'll go with that. Sure.
And
Come on,
line
one
dancing.
more. Line dancing. I like
know.
it. 3 desserts.
Cheesecake, flan, and creme brulee.
And creme brulee. Okay, that's awesome. 3 colors.
Red,
This is not complicated.
yellow, purple.
Okay. Are you thinking like when I say that, are you thinking like your favorite colors, or is it just whatever happens to come into your mind? Like when I say 3 colors, how did
I get there?
Yeah, how'd you get there?
I mean, red, I kind of always grab. I love red, but I wear blue clothes, so it's kind of
That's weird. That's weird.
And then yellow and purple, I kind of thought yellow and gold. My dad was from Southern California, so I've always been a Lakers fan. And so that kind of just came into my mind was purple and gold, but I said purple and yellow because I was just thinking, for whatever reason, a Lakers jersey. Thank you, Dallas, for giving the Lakers Luka Doncic. I probably just lost a couple votes by bringing that up again.
There you go.
At least Nico Harrison's gone.
There you go. All right, 3 things you might find on the beach.
Seashells, a lack of clothing, and beach towels.
What's a lack of clothing? I mean, I guess technically you're right.
I'm creative over here,
Oh,
okay?
you're creative. All right. I could do this one. Well. Farm animals. 3 farm animals.
Pig, horse, goat.
Of which I have all of the above at my ranch. Very, very good. All right. 3 heroes.
Ooh, 3 heroes.
Yeah, getting kind of complex now.
Oh, man.
Come on, 3 heroes.
I gravitate towards the Bible. I'm going to go with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and go in order here.
At its best. I like it. All right. Things that you might find at a souvenir shop.
Ooh, a postcard.
Nice. 2 more things.
Coin.
Right.
And
glad I'm not answering this.
Oh gosh, I don't know. A souvenir. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Come on, another souvenir.
A Buc-ee's T-shirt. Like,
Buc-ee's T-shirt. A Buc-ee's T-shirt. All right, last one here. 3 things you see in the future. I'm kind of fibbing a little bit. It's not on this card.
Okay.
3 things you see for the future of Celina.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with more water, better east-west transportation, and high-paying jobs.
I like it. All right. Is there a Facebook page, a website, a phone number, any of that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I can give you. So my social media is I'm on Facebook. You can look it up. Ryan Tubbs, Celina Mayor. My phone number is 469-835-5856. That's easier to get a hold of me. It's out on my social media. So whether that's WhatsApp or a phone, call me, connect however you would like.
Okay, all right, that sounds really good. Is there anything that you would like to say or talk about or anything like that we haven't covered or mentioned today? I've kind of bounced all over the place, and I'm sure I left about 20 things unasked, but we only have so much time.
Yeah, I think if I was going to end with something, it'd probably be public safety. I think in turn we face a unique challenge of keeping public safety at the current rate of growth that our residential growth is. When you talk about growing 18 to 25% year over year, but our police department only growing at 10% year over year, I think it's something that council really needs to sit down and focus on to make sure we have adequate staffing to provide the safe community that we want as we have more commercial businesses come in, as well as just response times inside of our community. As the Dallas North Tollway opens up, we're definitely just naturally more cars, higher rates of speeds. We're going to have more accidents. That'll take resources away to those areas. We want to make sure that from schools to the community that we have everything covered. We have fire station number 4 under construction right now. And normally with the new fire station, you have to hire about 18 more employees. We already have all those employees onboarded now. I think I look forward to helping with response times in that specific area. It's at Coit and Punk Carter, which is a very dense area for our city today. And I think we need to put a good plan together with our fire department we're an ISO 3 for a lot of people who don't know. An ISO 1 is what you want to be to help with those insurance rates. And it's based off of different factors of response times, water availability, in turn making sure when you touch that hydrant that you have water coming out of it. And I think Celina really we're so mature that we need to as we grow, focus on how do we decrease response times to the different areas, making sure that we're showing up inside of our national standards, as well as staffing. In turn, do we go to 4-man staffing inside of the fire department? I think it's something we need to closely look at, as well as making sure that we have enough officers on the street. However, we're preventing crime from CID and our investigative division to patrol, to making sure that everybody's obeying those laws, as well as any type of drug prevention, everything out there, just making sure that all of our public safety officials have the resources they need from physical tools, as well as mental health training, and to be able to cope with any problems that they have. I think it's a very big passion of mine to just work with our police and fire chiefs to make sure that they have the resources they need.
All right, very good. All right. So when is the election? We're getting close.
So early voting is April 20th. I was actually looking this up yesterday. So you can vote at Collin College in Celina, as well as if you're in Denton County, you can vote at fire station number 3. So those are going to be our main voting areas. Election day is May 2nd. So in turn, you go and cast a vote, come down to the downtown square. We have our Cinco de Mayo festival going on that day. So that'll be a good time. Maybe enjoy a margarita, or in turn go see all the different vendors that we have going on. So that should be really good. But yes, everybody, it will be a little bit different because Prosper did cancel their elections. They don't have to host them, so you can't vote. You'd have to go into Frisco or go into McKinney. So the closest voting location is going to be at Collin College, will be our main one for all of our Collin County residents, as well as fire station number 3, which is located off of 1385.
Very good. All right, guys. And that is Ryan Tubbs.